Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Turin here with another Warhammer Total War online commentary. In this matchup, I'm going to be piloting Chaos, led by Kholek over here, one of my favorite Chaos leaders, and I also have a Chaos Sorcerer here to help him out. So we'll just do a brief overview of the composition while we're here in slow motion mode. I have a front line of Forsaken. Usually I go with kind of Chaos Warriors just for the high armor to kind of get in there, but this game I decided to try something a little different for the sake of mobility. So I have several groups of Forsaken, each who is upgraded with a few chevrons for a little more leadership and other miscellaneous stats. Behind them, I have Chaos Chosen with Halberds. Again, I got these assuming there would be Demogryph Knights, but thankfully my opponent did not get any Demogryph Knights. Regardless, they're still going to be very strong, very, very sturdy melee unit. Here in the back, Kholek, Chaos Sorcerer of Death, which is great with Fate of Buna against Demogryph Knights, of course. I kind of built my army against them. Then I also have a group of Chaos Spawn here. I'm a big fan of these. I think they're very powerful for overloading a flank, so wherever you send them, you can kind of send them as well as Kholek and really start to do quite a bit of damage and morale loss and other fun business there. Also in the wings here, I have a group of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. I just use these kind of as a nuisance to harass, and again, it forces your opponents to micromanage a little more, so it can draw their attention away from more important things. In the back, I have two groups of Chaos Warhounds. I love these for interrupting handgunners, cannons, all that type of stuff. Whenever I play Chaos, I like to always have at least two groups of those. So, as far as his composition goes, he has a light wizard over here, I believe, who is coming to cheese me, and then he's got two great cannons, halberdiers. He has a front line of great swords who look like they've been upgraded a little bit, so that'll definitely be a tough cookie to crack there. He's got some halberdiers on the flank. He's got two groups of crossbowmen. Another group of halberdiers here in the back, and then he also has Karl Franz, who he opted not to use Deathclaw, rather he is on a standard cavalry. So that's kind of just a brief overview of the army compositions, and now let the games begin. So again, I start to just move up my troops here, and one thing you have to keep in mind when you're playing Chaos is that the Chosen are extremely slow, whereas Forsaken are extremely fast. So you see how they're running and then stopping. That's because if you group and lock a group together in the main toolbar on the bottom, the units will pace with each other, which is pretty nice because when I first started playing, I remember the Forsaken would run leaps and bounds ahead while I wasn't paying attention, and then the positioning wouldn't be as great. So just something to note there. So here he comes in with his Light Wizard, and it's clear he's going to try and get me with some magic missiles. So I'm like, okay, let's play the Spirit Leech magic missile game. So he attacked me once there. I'm like, oh, hey, it's not that big of a deal. Should be fine. I think I can outdo him with the Spirit Leech. So I go in there and try and get it, and again he comes in with another magic missile, and just look at this damage. It's just absurd. So my Chaos Sorcerer just gets absolutely decimated here. Look at that. Man, I'm just glad it didn't hit Kholek. So again, I get a Spirit Leech off, but again, he's going to get the favorable trade there. So here in the wings, I have my Chaos Warhounds waiting. I was actually planning on trying to distract him with these Axemen, and then while he's not paying attention, run the Warhounds in on the Great Cannon to just kind of shut those down. A little bit of a risky play, but anyways, I think it pays off. So yeah, he magic missiles my Sorcerer again and actually kills him. So just for the 10 wins of magic or whatever it costs to do that, he killed my Sorcerer. 900 plus resources just gone from my army instantly. So definitely now I'm fighting an uphill battle. I don't have Fate of Buna, I don't have Spirit Leech, any of that type of stuff. So it's definitely going to be rough. So again, I come in here with the Marauder Horsemen. I start just throwing some axes at these guys. I do get a few kills, which was nice, because these Marauder Horsemen are really cheap, definitely expendable. So he has to redirect his archers over here and start using them in that, and at that same time my front line's coming up, and I feel like he's kind of discombobulated here. But anyways, I retreat them back into the forest with intentions of bringing them out again. I accidentally run Kholek a little far ahead of the army here, so I make sure to pull him back. I don't want him to be easily focusable. So these Forsaken are starting to take some cannon fire. They're very susceptible to that. So at this point, I'm kind of like, okay, I got to get in there and disrupt him. So I come back with these Marauder Horsemen. Unfortunately, his crossbowmen are still in position, so I'm going to take some losses here. But I'm just trying to distract him. It's not necessarily trying to be super effective, but I want him to be moving these troops around, and you can see these guys are even facing the wrong way. So just those little annoying units, if you have the capacity of microing, can be pretty strong. So I get the Kholek Lightning here, which is pretty good at disrupting him, does quite a bit of damage. So, and he's focusing on those Marauder Horsemen, so I'm able to get these Chaos Hounds in here and actually shut them down while my melee unit approaches. I mean, of course, these hounds are already shaken. They haven't even really taken any damage. But again, they're keeping these from firing. And I believe I do the same thing over here on this wing. Yeah, so I have the hounds coming in from both sides. So again, he's going to react to these and send these great swords up to deal with them probably, or they're just going to route to the cannoneers. Regardless, they did pretty good damage. And these guys, again, taking quite a beating, but they did pretty good damage against those halberdiers. So can't complain there. And he brought Carl over here just to provide emotional support. And again, these hounds are getting in. So I'm trying to like time everything with the arrival of my main forces. And again, these Chaos Spawn, I'm getting ready to overload this flank. So that was kind of my plan this game. So these Forsaken aren't going to be long for this world. They're just going to kind of get in there, do a little bit of shock damage with their... They have really high charge bonus, so again, they can pay dividends there. So again, these Forsaken are kind of get in here and do their thing. But of course, Great Swords are just a far superior unit. So they're going to get in here and start fighting. And he gets a really good snare here, actually. He used his Light Wizard to snare, and I was really excited about these Chaos Spawns getting a nice charge bonus, but look at that. Just shuts him down, and the Great Swords are able to get on top of him, which I thought was really, really well played by him. So Kholek's in here. He's now hammering this line. He's got all his buffs on the standard die, and he's just a beast. So I get him onto the cannons here, and they're shaken, and essentially they're going to be shut down. I just didn't want those cannons focusing Kholek and whittling him down, because again, he is susceptible to that high focus. So then those Forsaken, who were previously snared, are going to get in there and do a bit of damage. Also, that Lightning Storm. It looks like it knocked a few of my guys up, so I got to take note of that for future reference. But we did get through to his back line, and these cannons are completely offline, so definitely happy there. And also, I sent my Chosen with Halberds over here, as well as these Chaos Spawns. So typically when I play Chaos, I like to overload one flank. And again, these are the Sacrificial Lambs over here. These Chosen, they're very resilient. So I like to send them over, and look how many units he's investing in dealing with these. He has a Great Sword, another Great Sword, I believe, Halberdiers, and then also these crossbowmen are all over here, as well as Karl Franz. So they're not going to do much per se, but they're going to hold the line over there while this other flank of his just gets absolutely crushed. Like he lost everything over here, while only my one group of Chosen over here, essentially took damage. So you can see Kholek just still laying the beat down. These Chaos Spawn, they are unbreakable, so they're absolutely awesome. So again, those units routed, and he took pretty serious losses over here. So now it's kind of just our two death balls against one another, which is always a fun, that final dramatic showdown. But he does still have this Light Wizard up here. He's been casting the magic missiles pretty periodically on Kholek, and you can see that's where most of the damage came from. But Kholek is fairly resilient, has really high health pool, so he's going to do pretty well. So Kholek's going to get in there and do some damage to these Great Swords, followed up by the shock of these Chaos Spawn, who are anti-infantry. So I think I have a pretty heavy advantage here. And then also my Warhounds from earlier, I was able to bring back and get into his crossbows and other troops over there. And again, these Chosen, definitely one of the, if I'm not mistaken, the strongest infantry in the game. They cost 1,500, extremely high stats across the board. So they're going to get in there and just do some serious work. So these Chaos Spawn are doing pretty good against these Great Swords. And then Kholek, I'm just chasing down routing units because I don't want them to come back and, like these crossbowmen over here. So again, I use these hounds to chase those guys off. And personally, I think that's what Chaos Warhounds are best for, is sometimes when you're fighting, the Bretonia or Empire or these other factions, you rout a lot of units early, but they end up coming back to bite you later, and they can reform, and you lose through attrition, especially against crossbows and those types of things. So as you can see, the hounds are over there, and now they're broken, and they're just going to clean up shop here. So again, these infantry are, Kholek, and he causes terror. I have these Chaos Spawn, which are unbreakable, fairly resilient, and then this wall of Forsaken, who have very high damage, as well as the Chosen. So if Chaos is known for anything, it's for their infantry. So if you can pull this battle into an infantry battle, you're going to be very well off. So at this point, he pulls Karl Franz in here, who he's definitely not going to stand against Kholek in this type of situation. When he has Deathclaw, he's quite a bit stronger, but again, at this point, he's just getting surrounded and beaten, and definitely is not having a good time. But again, Karl Franz is still extremely resilient, and he's going to stand in there for a little bit longer. But again, most of his troops are shattered, shaken, broken. Things aren't going well for him. And again, these hounds are cleaning up shop over there. I believe I pulled him back right now to flank these guys in a moment. So Karl, he pulls in his Light Wizard. He's just, essentially, this is his last stand here. So the Light Wizard's clearly had enough. He's riding away on his Pegasus, and Karl, being the champ that he is, almost fighting to the death, but he has to take off as well. So again, he's bringing in a few groups of Halberdiers, but these Chaos Spawn are not gonna have any issues cleaning them up. So at this point, I reallocate my troops because this is his last pocket of resistance here. So if I can crumble this last group of great swords and whatnot, then, you know, he's done for. But again, Kholek's still in really good health. And, you know, these Chosen, they're still very healthy as well, having about 65% of their operational strength. And again, using these hounds to chase down these scattered units, very strong utility on those. Again, a big part of why I think I was successful this game was, one, overloading the flank on that right side. Even though I lost my my sorcerer right away, I was able to overcome that, thankfully. But again, the other big factor, I think, was the fact that he didn't have Demogryph Knights. So he just tried to go a straight infantry battle against Chaos, which, you know, will, not in all circumstances, but most of the time it'll favor Chaos. And if he had those Demogryph Knights, you know, cycle charging through my, you know, my ranks and just plowing through in that regard, I think he would have had a much better time. But again, he did get my sorcerer right away, so was definitely effective on that front. So as far as breakdown, Kholek did pretty well for himself. I mean, most of his kills were on great swords and, again, cannoneers as well. So he did quite well. The sorcerer obviously did absolutely nothing. He got one spirit leech on the light wizard, who ended up living anyways. The Forsaken did pretty well. I mean, they took the brunt of it. But again, 85 kills on this one, 102 on this one, which was very solid. This halberdier, they were sacrificial lambs. They went over and held that flank for a long time. So the true heroes of the game right there. And these Chosen, again, fought the entire battle, maintained most of their health, did pretty well for themselves. And again, these Marauder Horsemen actually got quite a few kills, and were definitely forcing him to micro more on the flanks. He pulled Karl Franz over there just because he felt a little insecure, I believe. So definitely paid off there. And again, look at the kills in these Chaos Warhounds. For 475, you know, spent, they really pay dividends. They chased down crossbowmen, they chased down fleeing halberdiers, all who could have came back there in that last battle and helped. So definitely very cost effective there. And of course, same for these Chaos Warhounds and of course these Chaos Spawn. I'm often on the fence about them, but they paid off pretty well this game. They got a lot of kills and they were fighting to the end. So definitely can't complain there. So as you can see on his army, you know, his great swords did pretty well for themselves. The cannons actually got quite a few kills, but, you know, pretty evenly spread across the board there. But anyways, good game to Carl Pie 2000. Look forward to seeing you again on Ladder. And please leave your comments in the section below for matchups you'd like to see, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you all next time.